Steve. We're golfing in Brazil.
We are.
Second country and actually third country in like 4 days because we golfed in the United States.
Yeah. Yeah, golf in 3 countries in as many days.
Yeah, we golfed in Brazil, and in Canada, and in the US on this one, but we did still work, I swear. This was kind of a long trip by our standards, actually. 8 days start to finish. We'd only be flying an airplane, though, for 2 of those days. In the ferry business, our work days can look one of 3 ways. A fly day, self-explanatory, we're flying an airplane somewhere. Second way is a travel day. We always have to get either to or come home from a job, and we do that just like anybody else would, in the back of commercial airliners. Well, in the front part of the back anyway. I'd guess that I spend at least double the amount of time horizontal as a passenger in airplanes as I do upright and alert in the cockpit. So if I do, say, 600 hours in a year, which is realistic, I'm riding as a passenger easily another 1,200. So 1,800 hours. That's 75 full 24-hour days per year on airplanes. It's a lot. The third kind of day we could have is a sit day. That could mean a number of things. Usually it's unplanned and something is holding up a departure, be it a permit or some last-minute legal battle with a lease agreement, maybe a late release from maintenance. Sometimes we have to plan a pause somewhere, and for a variety of reasons. On this trip, we had a scheduled 3-day sit in Belo Horizonte, Brazil, while the airplane cleared customs. A sit day can be a total nightmare. Think Dothan, Alabama for a week, or Abu Dhabi stuck on the air side of an airport for 4 straight days. You know, the air side, which means past security, as in at the airport, where the closest thing to a hotel is a day room in a lounge with a communal bathroom. Anyway, with a planned sit, or even a long layover, we obviously try to avoid hanging out in our hotel rooms staring at the walls the whole time. Walking through cities and eating at local restaurants is one obvious way to kill time, and we of course have seen so many of the tourist sites and places of interest already, we were looking for something different to do. Ava and I recently discovered golf as a great way to keep the body moving between long stretches in the cockpit and an opportunity to see places from a different perspective. Like, who takes a golf trip to Belo Horizonte, where they have only one golf course and it's actually a ways out of town? Well, we did, and we're actually going to start carrying our clubs more. I think we're onto something here. This one officially started in Kelowna, British Columbia, although I got to Seattle a day early to get around to golf in with Ava at Trophy Lake before hopping our 2 flights, change of Q400s in Vancouver, to travel the mere 200 miles to Kelowna. The plan was to pick up a Boeing 737-400 freighter, which had just been converted from a passenger plane, and deliver it to an airport just outside of Sao Paulo called São José dos Campos. Since the airplane was Brazil registered, Ava and I had to get Brazilian license validations. This is a fairly common process for us. We were supposed to fly the thing out at 8 a.m., the morning after we got to Kelowna, but we found out around 10 p.m. that there was some missing paperwork and we needed it to get permits for the en route fuel stops. They came early in the morning, but our planning team needed some more time to sort out a route in a very short time frame. COVID restrictions in Barbados made a stop there basically impossible. Thinking this would delay us at least half a day, Ava and I woke up in Kelowna early, 5 a.m., and we looked for the closest place to hit a round of golf. We're in Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada, which is a place that's very well known for its awesome golf. And we're at the Shadow Ridge Golf Club. It's a little kind of municipal golf course, public, here right next to the airport. Our plan wasn't originally to play golf here, so we were just kind of happy about the opportunity. The place is billed as Kelowna's most affordable golf course, which isn't normally our jam, but you know, we're gonna see what it's like. I think it's gonna be fun. It's beautiful out here, and you know, at least we're getting some golf in before we depart. We actually did get a full 18 in before 10 a.m., and we even booked an afternoon tee time at one of the better reviewed golf courses in the area, just in case things didn't come together for departure. Throughout the round, I was getting updates from our planning team regarding permits.
My hybrid is like getting broken out because there's no chance anyway.
Yeah.
I figure, I'll get an extra shot.
Steve,
Maybe I'll break it.
Steve, what are we doing here? We're still waiting on delay.
Yeah.
Gave a
Still
little,
waiting on Brazil to do something.
which we have heard nothing. So we're out here playing golf in the trees.
Holy shit.
Being so close to the airport there, we were ready if the call came in. And as it turned out, we got the call that although some aspects of the route were still undetermined, we were clear to proceed as far as Fort Lauderdale with a departure that afternoon. We quickly headed back to the hotel to clean up and change, and then to the supermarket to cater ourselves for the flight.
Hey, Steve, what are we doing right now?
Oh, we're shopping. I'm like, what do you mean, what are we doing right now? I guess we're getting ready to go to Brazil.
Yeah. Getting some catering.
We're only going as far as Florida today, though.
So our food options, we're looking at it right now. Just your basic grocery store in Kelowna. I guess there's some salads.
Did you get any sandwiches or anything?
No, I didn't.
We always overbuy. You got toothpaste, though.
Yeah.
Planning on eating that?
Yeah. It's ration when I run out of food.
The ground crew at Kelowna Flightcraft had all of our paperwork ready, the plane fueled, and everything set for departure. Once we got to the jet, it only took us about 20 minutes to sort out the pre-flight and program the FMS before we pushed.
All right. Brakes are released. You're clear to push. It's a DC-3.
I know, I was trying to get a picture of it.
It really did come together fast. So fast, in fact, we didn't even have a route beyond Florida yet. Not SOP by any stretch, but the priority was to get things moving so that we would arrive in Brazil as close as possible to when customs was expecting us. The first leg to Great Falls, Montana was very short. The airplane could have easily made it to Fort Lauderdale nonstop, but the fuel price in Kelowna was nearly double that of Great Falls, so we added the stop to save money by topping up down there. We were also able to clear U.S. customs there, which would save us time on arrival to Lauderdale and expedite us getting to the hotel.
This time we're in a 737-400 freighter. We just took off out of Kelowna, British Columbia. We weren't sure if we were going to get out today, but they gave us about an hour notice. Said the airplane's ready, the permits are in, let's go. So
got the call at 1:30. At the airport by 2:15.
yeah,
Airborne by 3.
it all came together very, very rapidly today. Well, here we are in the back of the 737-400 freighter. As you can see right behind the cockpit, we've got a large area here of, well, it's not that large, really, it's kind of small, but it's the supernumerary area. There's the main door, and there's a couple of jump seats here. There's the control for the cargo door, which will open a little bit later. Here's the main cargo deck here at the 737-400. There's the cargo door here. That opens with hydraulics, and that's how they load palletized freight.
On a freighter, there aren't many thin cabin windows for our satellite messaging devices to transmit and receive through, but the emergency exits always work.
As you can see, we're up to 37,000 feet here already, and cruising along.
As is normally the case up in Montana, it was windy as hell, but the winds were steady, so the ride was pretty smooth going in. The first leg of any trip is where we shake off the rust, so to speak, and if there are going to be any airplane problems, we typically find out about them here. We were quite pleased with the condition of this bird and quickly gained confidence that we'd get her to Brazil without any technical issues. Great Falls isn't an airport that we frequent, but with the airport being so small, it was pretty easy to figure out where we were going once on the ground. The pad, with the customs agent and the USCBP car, and the fuel truck patiently waiting. We were there about an hour late, and it was a Sunday, so they were eager to get us in and out.
Licorice?
No, I'm eating chocolate. There's some in there. Come on. God.
Windy. Welcome to Great Falls.
Great Falls.
In the Windy City.
The customs agent asked to inspect the baggage compartments, and we obliged. Unfortunately, when I opened up the aft cargo pit door, most of the 80 boxes of aircraft records, which had been loaded too loosely, tumbled around, spilling binders of records everywhere. It took me about 20 minutes to clean up the mess and reorganize the boxes. Once that was complete, we headed back out for the 4.5-hour flight to Lauderdale. Once we got airborne, the sun set quickly and most of the leg was flown in darkness. Standard stuff, nothing too out of the ordinary happened. Well, one thing, I remember Ava kept having to get up and use the lav. Like, more than usual. I don't know. Weird. We got into Fort Lauderdale late at night and quickly headed into rest at a hotel near the airport. We still didn't have a route for the morning, but the decision and the permits to support that decision were supposed to be in place by around noon. The way we crew the trips in most cases is with 2 PIC qualified pilots. As such, we generally switch seats once or twice a trip so that whoever's turn it is to fly gets the left seat. The way we split this trip, I flew the first day and Ava flew the second day. We headed out to the airplane around noon. The first issue we had to deal with was that throughout the morning, a ton of other aircraft came in and were parked all around us, leaving us little room to taxi out. First thing I did was coordinate with the ramp the path that we intended to follow. Overnight, it was decided that we were going to take the next technical stop in Georgetown, Guyana. We did not, however, have a permit yet, so we ended up spending quite a while sitting on the airplane waiting.
Right now we're sitting in Fort Lauderdale. We're waiting on final landing permits to come through for Georgetown, Guyana. We've had multiple destination changes on our way down to Belo Horizonte due to COVID restrictions and overflight permits and everything else, but we finally had a solidified plan that came through at about noon. Right now it's about 2 p.m.
Jet 370 to Sierra Yankee Charlie Juliet Airport. Via radar vectors to join the Beach 5 departure. Then as filed. Coming maintain 3000. Expect flight level 370 in 10 minutes. Departure frequency is 128.6. Squawk 3631.
Okay, copy. Jet test 370 clear to Sierra Yankee Charlie Juliet. Radar vector is Beach 5. Departure is filed. 3000, 370 and 10, 128.6, 3631.
Jet test 370, read back is correct. There's frequency for the taxi, you waited in a minute.
Okay, we'll call you for taxi, and we're starting engines at this time.
By the time we got out of Lauderdale, it was after 3 p.m. This meant we'd be landing in Guyana after dark, and we were both pretty disappointed because neither of us had ever been there before. Still though, flights out of South Florida, across the Caribbean, and into South America are among the most scenic stretches of Earth we get to see. The route took us out over the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Grenada, and Trinidad. Blue waters, clear skies, and sandy islands capped with emerald green canopies. Just gorgeous. The sun began to set about 30 minutes before we started down, and by the time we lined up on final, the sky was pitch black. Well, except for the lightning to the south, an ominous warning about what we'd surely face on the next leg. Sometimes when we show up at a tech stop that's not one of our normal stations, we're met with bewilderment and confusion from the handling agents. It's not too often that empty airliners show up on the ramp with a couple of casually dressed pilots sporting baseball caps. Our stop in Georgetown was actually pretty smooth, but there was no shortage of chaos and confusion. The turn in Guyana took about 90 minutes, and by the time we got back in the sky, most of the thunderstorms had dissipated. On the climb out, we caught the tail end of some precip and got a little light show from the St. Elmo's fire. It's not actually fire, of course, but it is electricity discharging from heavily charged skies, usually in the vicinity of thunderstorm activity. It is not dangerous. The last leg, it's always the most brutal, but the clear, calm night over pretty much the whole Amazon made this one a pleasure. Unfortunately for us, the view you're seeing in the video is not what we saw. The camera has a great night time-lapse feature. For us, it was pitch black, with the exception of the occasional city or town. Still though, the moonlight did reflect on sections of the Amazon River at times, and it was pretty awesome. Imagine you've been sitting in this climate-controlled, stale capsule with one other guy for the last 10 plus hours, on tons of caffeine, but also tired. All of a sudden, you find yourself in a ramp van at 2 a.m. in another world, basically. It's a lot to take in. We cleared customs quick, and our driver was there waiting for us. He spoke good English and got us to the hotel really quickly, considering how far it was from the airport. The airport in Belo Horizonte is pretty far north of the city. Even at 3 a.m. with no traffic, it took close to an hour to get there. It was late May, early June, so temperatures were really cool and comfortable. Well, it's 2:30 in the morning. Just got into our hotel room in Belo Horizonte. Not great, but there's not a lot of great options here, honestly. We're just looking forward to golfing. It's kind of reminds me of a hospital room. So anyway, get a little bit of sleep, and then we're going to hopefully head out and play a little golf tomorrow.
Steve, the driver's coming.
Okay.
We'll live. It's 80 degrees outside.
I know. I brought a sweatshirt because it does get chilly at night. God knows what's gonna happen, but
We'll be stuck.
up, man?
We'll be stuck in Morro de Chapo.
The guy who picked us up at the airport, Warlerson, volunteered to be our personal driver for the week. Honestly, it was well worth every penny. Warlerson was awesome. A nice guy, he spoke good English, and he even acted as our translator at the golf course. Very few golf course employees spoke any English, and the only way we even got a tee time was email and Google Translate. We drove 30 minutes south to Nueva Lima, a town up in the mountains which is home to the only golf course in the region. Morro de Chapo is the name of the place, and we had no idea what to expect. The pictures online, they weren't super impressive. It looked okay, and as it turns out, the place was a gem. The guard shack. Yet another reason we needed Warlerson. Apparently, Morro de Chapo is home to some of the elites in the area, and the guards took their job very seriously. So here we are in
Morro de Chapo. Or Chapu? Not quite sure how to say it.
It's the only golf course in Belo Horizonte. It's down in the south. We're up at 5,000 feet.
Yeah, by just outside of Nova Lima is exactly where it's at. It's a gated private community.
We're way up in the mountains. It's beautiful. I'm guessing they don't really get a lot of, well, especially during COVID, a lot of golf tourism here. But I mean, there's only one course. So I'd argue we're probably the first Americans in a year, and maybe the first in longer. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll find out.
No English is spoken here.
No.
So, but our driver has been a great translator.
Yeah, he's been a big help. These guys have been very helpful with us using Google Translate and WhatsApp is the way we got ourselves out here.
Yeah.
And able to speak with them.
The sand here is really cool. It's like really, really fine, and really soft and fluffy. It's actually a pleasure, and it's this cool orange color. It's like Martian. Very cool. Wow, this is a beautiful ass course, man.
Wild.
Yeah, and the weather's held up too. There's massive thunderstorms out there, but none of them are really coming. Ooh, god damn! Look at that thing.
That's like over our hotel.
Yeah.
Got out of there just in time.
I know, it was starting to look like it might rain. Doesn't feel like it's gonna rain here, not anytime soon.
No.
I think that the one guy in the front was offering me some swing advice after he saw me belt the first two into the street.
Yeah.
I said, it's okay. What did he call me? Pistolo?
Pistolo, yeah.
The course was gorgeous, way unexpected. We both got the feeling that they didn't make it look so great on purpose in the pictures, so people don't come and the residents can have it to themselves. We went back and played again the next day, day 3 in Brazil, and it was just as awesome the second time. Oh, and the greens fees? $20. The hospital rooms weren't quite doing it for us, so we had Tracy, our travel coordinator, switch us to the Radisson Blu. We were much happier in the new hotel, which was closer to really good food and in a central walkable location in town. The day before we were supposed to leave, we got our obligatory COVID tests required for travel and found an outdoor cafe/churrascaria where we pointed and grunted, trying our best to order.
I have no clue what I just ordered. Thank God for that guy that spoke some English that happened to also be dining, getting takeout.
I know. And then he left right when we were ordering and we had no idea what we were doing.
Yeah, so and there's not really pictures on the menu, but, just kind of sounded it out, figured it out.
Shockingly, this lunch was the only meat-based meal we had in Brazil, but it was simply awesome. Grilled beef with farofa, the seasoned yellow cassava flour powder, which goes great on every kind of meat. One mistake, however, was ordering what I thought was sweet, juicy pineapple, and which turned out to taste essentially like a flavorless wet potato. I think it was cassava, but not 100% sure. Not sure what the appeal is with that stuff. Well, it's day 7 of the trip, day 4 here in Brazil, and as you can see from the scenery behind me, not much has changed. We're still in Belo Horizonte, and although the intention was to depart for São José do Campos yesterday, there are some matters that are slowing and delaying things that are out of our hands. The customer is trying to overcome some of these issues right now. I believe it has to do with importation and documentation and legal reviews and things that are way outside of our scope. That was supposed to take 3 days. We're going on day 4 here, and we've been contracted for a 7-day period. Unfortunately, tomorrow will make day 8, and we are needing to move on to some other trips. We have a bunch of stuff on the schedule, and it looks like unless they can get things resolved in the next few hours, we're gonna have to press pause on this trip, then commercial down to Sao Paulo, and catch our flights back to the United States. About 2 hours later, we learned that the issues would not be resolved and that the customer would just make the last hop themselves in a week or 2. We called up Warlerson and set up our ride back to CNF.
Great.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for taking care of us the last few days.
Yeah, we'll see you
we
next
appreciate
time.
it.
Okay.
Driving us around and translating for us.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
After bidding farewell to our golf clubs, we hopped on the 40-minute flight to Sao Paulo, where we'd spend a few hours in the lounge before taking separate flights home. Philly via Miami for me, and Seattle via Houston for Ava. We did wave goodbye to TLA as we passed it on the taxi out. In the end, the 4-day sit was a colossal waste of time and resources, but we were on the clock and we got some good golf in at a spectacular course that we'd have never otherwise known about. The trip was memorable, mostly in a good way, and it was time to move on to the next one. See you then.
Good trip home, man.
Later, man. I'll see
That's
you.
the end of it. 8 days later.
In a couple days, I guess.
Yeah, sounds good.